Hello, Emil Stoychev from SilverlightShow. Here today we have Jeremy Likness. Hi Jeremy.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good. Good to be here. Enjoying the summit.
Cool. Just say a few words about you, just to introduce you to the SilverlightShow public.
Sure. I'm a consultant with a company called Ultra, and I work primarily on the Silverlight platform, and that's all areas of Silverlight, whether it's desktop, out of browser, Windows Phone, and I also do several open source projects related to both MVVM and data storage on Silverlight.
Cool. So you're doing a lot of Silverlight stuff, right?
Yes, absolutely. Day in and day out. That's all I do is eat, drink, and breathe Silverlight.
That's cool. Okay, recently you released a Ultra MVVM White toolkit for Windows Phone 7.
Right, a small framework, yes.
So what was the reason for that?
Sure. So primarily I've been working on desktop-based Silverlight apps, and I've dabbled in the phone, but I've started to work on a lot more projects that are specifically on the phone. And anyone who's developed on the phone knows that it's a different environment. It still uses Silverlight, but there's just certain things with the smaller model that make it different. One of the things I like to use is the Managed Extensibility Framework, and it's not available on the phone. The other thing is we do a lot of regions on the bigger Silverlight screen, and the phone is a very small screen, so it doesn't make sense to have things like regions. It's overkill. So there's a very tight navigation. And so what I wanted to do is I said, you know, we have a lot of frameworks that try to hit Silverlight and the phone. Why not make a small framework just for the phone that just tackled some of the missing pieces? So what I did is I just took the bare bones things that I thought were difficult to do on the phone. And that's things like commands, because there's no direct commanding support, so allowing commands on buttons, navigation, very helpful, handling the back button, handling tombstone events, which is where the application switched out and comes back in.
One of the pains.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a major pain. Handling dialogues, so if I want to ask the user for confirmation. So just these small concerns, and I packaged them in just a super light framework to help build those applications on the phone. And it turned out to be 22 kilobytes of size and less than 300 lines of code. So I said, you know, it was useful for me, it might be useful for someone else, so let me put it out there on open source and see if some other people can use it.
You have, I think you have a similar open source project named Jounce. Right?
Yes. So Jounce is targeted towards Silverlight on the desktop and in the browser. And where I'd say Jounce is different from a lot of other frameworks, if you look at MVVM Lite, there's Caliburn, there's Prism, there's a lot of great frameworks, and there's nothing wrong with those. I wanted a framework that worked directly with MEF, because that's what I like to use, and so I wanted to provide that guidance with MEF. The other thing, again, just like with the Ultra Light, I wanted to have bare minimum. Here's core services, so very lightweight, not a huge framework that does a lot of things. I wanted to hit 80% of what you would need with 20% of the size. And so that's what Jounce is. It's specifically on the desktop, and it's specifically with MEF, and it tries to have a very simple approach to building composite dynamic applications.
Okay, so to summarize, you use Jounce on the desktop, Silverlight, and you use Ultra White MVVM on the phone.
And they actually do share quite a few pieces. The phone has an event aggregator. That's the exact same as Jounce. The commanding is the exact same, but the phone is just a much smaller footprint because some of the things Jounce brings in with asynchronous operations and region management and module loading, all of these things just aren't needed on the phone.
Yeah, so you were looking for some more efficient way to provide the same utilities for the phone.
Right, exactly. So they work hand in hand, but I didn't call it the same thing because it's different. It's a much smaller runtime on the phone. So I figured two different projects because they're really two different targets.
That makes sense. And you got any community feedback for this?
With the phone phone, it's interesting. I mean, I just released it several days ago, so I've already had a few people email me and say this is exactly what I was looking for. It's great, and I love to hear that. But I think it's going to take some time to really iron out. I know what my problems have been, and that's what I've solved. But that's where putting it in the community, you find out what other people's problems are, and I don't know what those are, and so we can try to put those into the framework and solve those.
Many people are looking for this, so hopefully it will be one successful project.
Right.
One of your other projects, open source projects, is Sterling.
Sterling.
This is well, very popular now.
Yes, it's taken off far more than I expected.
Well,
so
tell us about it.
So Sterling actually started back in the desktop Silverlight days, and it was before the phone was even in the picture. And I had worked at a lot of customers who, what they liked about Silverlight was the offline, out of browser mode, and being able to work disconnected. But of course, there's no local database on Silverlight, and if you're going to work on the Mac and on the PC, you need some easy way. So what I found was I was doing the same things in a lot of projects with serializing objects and doing some things to speed the serialization. If I have 5,000 contacts, I don't want to have to deserialize the whole list just to do a name lookup. So I would serialize a list of names, and then I would serialize a list of objects. So I said, what are the common pieces I can create an engine to handle this automatically for me? And that's how Sterling got started. I built it for a few projects. I put it out there. We refactored it. The phone came out, and it turns out that with the phone, with the tombstone scenario we talked about, being able to save the application state and bring it back, that Sterling was perfect for that. So the phone further popularized Sterling, and it's just taken off. I've had a lot of community feedback. We've done a lot of optimizations, and just a couple of weeks ago, finally released the 1.0 version, and I've just gotten tremendous feedback. It's being used in a ton of production projects, both on the phone and on the desktop. And you know, I continue to get feedback and suggestions, and really focusing on rolling out future releases and growing that functionality. So.
Perfect. How many downloads you have by now?
It's close to 3,000 right now. And
3,000.
So
cool.
Yeah,
that's a very good number.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's a good start, especially when it was just one small application that I said it's useful for me. Let's see if it's useful for someone else, and for it to gain that momentum. So you're going to see a lot. Gotten a lot of attention and pickup. So with different publicity channels that we'll see. So I'm doing a lot of projects just to raise awareness of how to use that.
That's why we're here. Okay, just one more thing.
Okay.
You just became the Silverlight MVP of the Year, right?
Sure, yeah. Absolutely.
Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you. I appreciate
good
that.
work. Thank you for your time. Hope we'll see you.
All right. That's great. Thank you.
Bye.